Hello, dissidents. Game day, election 2024 officially starts today. The Iowa caucuses are tonight. While Russ is prepping the Jimmy Dore show, I figure I'd come on here and register my bets. I tweeted out, feeling lucky today. My Iowa caucus predictions, and these are mine, not Russell's, so he is not implicated in this in case these are totally wrong. Trump 58, Haley 17, DeSantis 15, Ramaswamy 7. Those are my picks. I'm locking that in. Trump is polling around 50 points. I think Trump is going to outperform expectations. I think his base is by far the most loyal of any of these candidates. It's about 20 below zero in Iowa today. I think they are going to come out in bigger numbers than even the polls have them expected to. And I think that will give him a very, very comfortable victory. A key thing to watch here is the Haley versus DeSantis race for second place. It's critical for Nikki Haley. It's do or die for Ron DeSantis. I do not see how DeSantis stays in the race if he finishes third this evening. Haley's numbers are good enough in New Hampshire to the point where she will certainly stay in through New Hampshire, however she places this evening in Iowa. DeSantis' numbers are not very strong in New Hampshire, and so a third place finish in Iowa would put his campaign in really dire straits for a couple reasons. Number one, support would just continue to dry up off of a third place finish in Iowa where he made a really big push. But second, and I think this is more important, the sort of never Trump, anti-Trump GOP donors and GOP voters are going to put him under immense pressure to drop out if he is not in a position to compete past tonight. Because the last thing they want is for Ron DeSantis to drag down Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. If Haley does okay this evening and comes in second place, if she can place anywhere from, that 15 to 20 point range and she's polling in the 20 to 25 range against Trump, 35, 45 in New Hampshire, she is going to be seen as at least a long shot contender in New Hampshire, at which point DeSantis's basket of votes are going to be seen as votes that will and should go to her if DeSantis drops out. So with him in the race in New Hampshire, especially with no chance to win, is just going to be seen as a real drag on the sort of anti-Trump faction of the party. And so I think if DeSantis places third, he is going to be under extreme pressure to drop out. Now, Vivek, I know there are a lot of people who are hoping on a Vivek upset. My theory is that the internet is not quite as reflective of real life as some of us in this online space think. So I think he is going to finish more or less where the polls have him. I think he will finish maybe mid to upper single digits. I picked 7. That's what felt right to me in the moment. And as for his sort of contention that the establishment is trying to narrow this down to a two-person race between Haley and Trump, that's what he said in the video that we showed last night on the show. Don't fall for it. Well, I would have to just posit this. Donald Trump would rather this be a two-person race between Haley and Trump than a three-person race between Haley, Trump, and Vivek. Vivek staying in the race only hurts Trump past Iowa, especially if DeSantis drops out. If DeSantis drops out, that's going to give Haley a bump. She will then have pretty much consolidated all of the anti-Trump votes in the party, at which point Vivek, whose supporters are pretty favorable towards Trump, he would be dragging Trump down because given the obvious animosity between Vivek and Nikki Haley, Vivek's not taking any votes away from Haley. So in a three-person race, if DeSantis is out in New Hampshire, Vivek being in that race only drags Trump down and makes a Haley upset more likely. Still not likely, but if Trump wants to put this away past Iowa and New Hampshire, which is certainly his goal given all the trials coming up, right? I mean, he wants to put this primary in the rearview mirror as soon as possible so he could deal with the court cases and then pivot to the general. Vivek being in that race only hurts Trump past this point. And Vivek already has events scheduled for New Hampshire. So unless he cancels all those after this evening and endorses Trump, which it doesn't seem likely he'll do, then he's going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire, which is going to put the spotlight on DeSantis if DeSantis places third this evening. So once again, my predictions: Trump 58, Haley 17, DeSantis 15, Vivek 7. My eye is on DeSantis tonight. It's a foregone conclusion pretty much that Trump is going to win. DeSantis needs to finish second in order to keep his campaign going. If he finishes third and he is forced out of the race, that makes New Hampshire significantly more interesting, both in terms of Haley's numbers and in terms of Vivek. What does Vivek do at that point? Because in a three-person race between Trump, Vivek, and Haley, Vivek is dragging Trump down. At that point, he's not going to be able to bullshit his way into some concocted narrative about how he's actually in this to help Trump. So those are my predictions for this evening. We'll be hosting the Jimmy Dore Show later, and then we're going to have a caucus recap on our main show, the DueDissidence Show, tomorrow night. That is Tuesday night. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Please clap.